We created Pulse really out of a need that we had discovered in our own work. And for us, that was we're beginning to walk with a lot of different individuals and organizations in their own personal formation and ministry reach. And to monitor the health of their formation, we had mechanisms and we have a philosophy for how to be monitoring that. But the mechanism to do that was becoming more and more cumbersome as we were growing. So we've done everything from spreadsheets to we built out a very robust system of Salesforce, and none of these solutions were solving the challenge that we were facing. So we built our own, and that's what you have here with Pulse. As we've been sharing this with some of our friends, we're recognizing that this actually is beginning to solve some of the challenges that they face as well, and you may be one of them. So let me just walk you through a brief demonstration of what we have currently built and where we're heading with this tool, and to see if this may be of interest to you in your work or in your leadership. So when you first log in, this is completely all hard coded currently. This is live, and we have people testing this right now in the field. When you log in, you're going to see this view. And what you have is a quick dashboard that represents all of the information from different reflections, which is what we're calling surveys. We find it to be more meaningful to how we think about our work is we're being reflective in our work. We're not just reporting on activity. We're trying to reflect so that we can be sharper and that we can better resource the field that we're serving in. And so what I see here is a quick dashboard of individuals or groups, depending on how you or your organization want to structure this. Where are people or groups stagnating, growing, or maturing? Now, this information is all pulling from this particular reflection that we built and customized for our use. But if I want to change the view of this, I can just pull this down and you'll see that these are just four examples of different reflections that we created for this particular account. So if I click on this, it'll automatically change the dashboard view. And now I can see where are people stagnating, growing, or maturing as it relates to the financial health and resilience. Now, every person that logs in is going to be able to see a list of members, whether this is whether this represents the individuals or the groups that they are directly working with, or if you're an organizational leader, you'll be able to roll up and see everyone that is inside of your organizational structure. This way, you can begin to quickly get a snapshot of overall, where are people growing, maturing, or stagnating in their formation areas? Now, I'll come to the reflections in just a moment, but one more thing on this page that you'll notice. We created a little side note for keeping your thoughts. This is a section for notes. Not everyone will use this, but we felt like many of us do keep journal logs, and it can become very cumbersome when you begin to work with really more than 10 individuals to keep all of those things in one location. What we can do now is add a thought. We can apply it to myself or any number of the folks that we're walking with and add that thought here. The nice part about adding it from the main page is that it'll go directly onto their profile account that I'll show you in a moment. One more thing while we're here on the home page is if you can, wherever you are in the app, if you want to add a reflection, you can simply come to this top right button, click add a reflection. You'll choose the person or the group. As you'll notice, there's a group on here to show as an example of this. I can add that reflection to the individual. I can choose which reflection that I want to complete on the individual and add that immediately. And while we're here, I'll just go ahead and show you the reflections and what they look like live. This is a survey that our team created, and you can come through and fill this out. I'll show you how you create that in your own account in a moment. There are a mixture of numerical fields, multiple choice, or narrative fields. Now, just to keep in mind, if you want to see dashboards populate information, they will not pull information from anything that is narrative only. The reason that we want to have some of these kinds of questions is that, and you'll see it in a moment, when we begin to work with someone over a long period of time, we'll notice these trend lines where they're growing, they're stagnating, they're ebbing and flowing. It's never a straight line. And so if we want to come back in time and see the context behind what was happening in a moment, we'll be able to pull up this particular reflection and go directly to these narrative questions and begin to get some color into the context of what was happening at the time of that reflection. And so that's what this would look like. It'll apply directly to the person's profile page. And let me just take you to there right now. This is not completed yet. This right now, what you're viewing is what we have coded, hard coded into the app today. What it will look like is more like this. So remember the dashboard on the main page. Now, if I come into an individual's account or a group's account, depending on how you want to use the tool, you'll be able to come in and hover over the different sections of what was happening over the course of time and see this trend line for this individual based on the reflection that is selected at the moment. You also see all of your old thoughts as they're populated here. You can review those before you end up meeting with this individual again or begin to do work with them. The nice part about this dashboard is that if I were to click right here, what it would create is this. Now I can come back in and see the specific reflection that I completed on a specific date and get the context of what was happening in this moment. That's what this will look like. So just to highlight this one more time so you could pause this video, this is where we're going. We should be finished with this shortly, and you'll be able to see these very specific dashboard views for individuals or groups, however you decide to structure this. Now, if I come back here, you'll notice, as I was saying before, that we have some groups that want to focus exclusively on individuals. Others are talking about using this to monitor the health of whether it's a small group or an organization that they're working with. There's several recommendations that we would have, and we'd love to speak with you about your specific use case. Again, we've designed Pulse to be highly customizable for your unique language and use and structuring of how you are working. So whether you're working with groups or organizations, there are very specific ways to build this that we're happy to discuss with you. Now, if you come into the reflections, you'll notice these are the ones that I've completed, and you are not obligated to use any of these. In fact, there will only be one hard template inside of your account when you log in, and that'd be our Discipleship Pulse one. And this is just a sample. You don't have to use it ever. You could hide it from view from all of your folks, or you can go in here and also create your own. And this is what it'll look like. You'll notice a few things here that I'll explain quickly, but just a quick highlight that are currently are 3 types of questions that you can use to create your reflection. Again, we'll be adding a more robustness to this particular feature and all of the features for that matter as we complete the core functions of each of the core parts of this. So you'll have this option selection. You'll have the text field, and this will just be the narrative questions that you would want to add for context and color to the situation, or numerical fields. Now, currently, the way this is set up is that it'll, if you put a 0 to 10 on this, it's going to automatically rate stagnating to maturing. We already know that one of the early changes on the numerical field will be your ability to adjust what counts as stagnating, growing, or maturing. So that's going to be coming next. So I just did want to highlight this. Some folks had asked us early on, if you ask a question, what makes the system know that they're stagnating, growing, or maturing? And the simple answer to that is you do, because if you ask a question about anything inside of your context of your work, you'll be selecting answers that you could choose from in that reflection, and then you would be classifying them here on the right side. So whether this question, if they answer in this way, then this means that is a stagnating score, and it'll score them specifically. Now, you'll notice that we have reflection tags and goals, and the same thing for question. What are tags for? What are goals? Imagine that you're using this across the totality of your organization and you have 20 different reflections. You're going to want to have a way to more specifically search for whether it's a question that is discussing a specific type of thing or a reflection that is addressing that in its totality. So you want to have a very specific tagging structure, and you'll want to remember as well, and especially when you publish this for your staff to begin to use, what is the goal of this? Why are we doing this reflection versus not? So you'll want to have that information as well. Once you've finished publishing this, you'll be able to submit this out. Everyone in your organization will be able to see it, begin to fill it out on the individuals or groups, and get to work with it. Now, the last feature that is coming out in our very core offering is the report section. Now, this is going to pull all of the information from across your organization. You'll be able to create and customize this shortly. But the nice part about this is I can specify which dates I want to pull this from and only see the information between those dates or between whichever reflection specifically that I want to see it on. So there's no data to be found on there. The other nice part about this is that when I'm done, when I see all of this and I get what I really want to see, I can export this to a CSV, pass this along to our graphics design team, and have them populate pretty PDF pictures that I can pass out to our board of directors, our stakeholders, our donors, anything like that. All of this is customizable for you, and we would be happy to jump onto a call and walk with you through the entirety of the system and discuss how it may serve you best and how to perhaps consider structuring this in your own work. I hope this was helpful. I look forward to hearing from you.